Share screen, share, and play. Hello, everyone. Thanks for watching today's topic. Today, if you're watching it today or soon, it's July 2nd. I've been doing that because some agents are calling me and say, hey, watch your video. And it's like, it's from a year ago. I'm like, the last one, or like this, I've been putting, even though on the YouTube it has the date and stuff, but at least, I just want agents to know when they watch a video, it's not like I post, it's fresh. When it was fresh, when it was cooked,
Yeah.
because I know there's people out there probably uploading videos, to their pages that they've done last year, the year before, and things like that. So today, July 2nd, but top 5 reasons agents get into trouble. So this is very good information to keep you out of trouble. So I will jump into it. Go ahead, Deb.
Yep. There's a couple more on here than just the top 5, but I want to emphasize these top 5. So the very first one, number 5, and this just came out last week from the Ohio Board of Realtors. So this is fresh, brand new information from a week ago. Unauthorized access, allowing buyers and others to access the property without a real estate licensee or without the seller's consent. This is still going on. You guys, this is a big no-no. You cannot give access to a property without the seller knowing about it. You can't give the lockbox code to an appraiser. You can't give it to a contractor. The sellers have to know, and most of the time a licensee has to be present unless the seller is. If you're running late, that doesn't matter. They're just going to have to sit and wait for you outside. They are doing sanctions. They're suspending people. They're giving them fines, and they're also making them do continuing education. Remember, anything that happens with any of these violations stays with you forever. They never go away. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to that, and people can find this stuff out. So you don't want to tarnish your reputation just because.
Right.
Go
And
ahead.
was it monthly? They come out, the division comes out with the people, if you ever get the division emails, I see those, I get them all every month, but has all the people that have disciplinary actions against
Yeah,
them.
the naughty list. Yep.
Yep. And people could access those if they really wanted to. So,
Yep. Number 4 is handling earnest money. Earnest money must be deposited in the broker's trust account within a reasonable time. You have to follow the rules of the contract. The contract that we use, the Ohio Board of Realtors contract, says it needs to be deposited within 3 days, which is 72 hours from the time that the seller signs the contract, unless there is a clause in there that you're going to be turning it in at a different time. It is up to you to make sure that your buyer is complying with this. They're not saying that you have to hand it to someone, because there's a lot of online things and stuff, but you have to let them know. And if it bounces, you got to let the other side know. This is real serious, and they really get into a lot of trouble if you don't follow this one.
yeah, the main thing I tell agents with that is that you just got to keep the other people involved informed of what's happening, but you're not responsible for physically getting, like unless you're supposed to go pick it up or something. But like if you're, my buyer didn't give me the check, what should I tell the other agent? I'm like, you got to call your buyer. I said, hey, I have to let the other side know, it could affect your deal. So sometimes
Yeah.
buyers think it's going to be swept under the carpet, and like it's going to be nothing. You got to explain to your buyer, I have to let the other party know, and then they might feel you're out of contract and could affect your deal. And sometimes buyer goes, oh, I have to,
Yes.
put this to you. So always check with Debbie or myself with that.
Property management. Brokers need to have a separate trust account for property management activities. Any property management conducted by an agent for another must be run through the brokerage, and brokerages and their agents must maintain records of funds received and dispersed. This is if your brokerage allows property management. We don't, because our E&O doesn't cover you guys as property managers. There is a caveat to that, right, Tony? So like they could be a paid employee with someone, but they
Yeah.
cannot be managing someone's property on their own, correct?
Exactly. What I always explain is, I mean, obviously check when you're one of our agents, of course, check with me or Debbie on that. But there's complete property management of hand. No, I tell them, don't even touch, even think about money. The minimum I tell agents they can do is sometimes people are like, well, I have these properties for lease or whatever, and they want me to go over there, let someone in to do some work or someone, or call them and arrange where I could, because they're out of town. Letting people in and out of the property is part of your duties as an agent when you're leasing a property, like an inspector or a repair person, but you're not signing any agreements. You're not agreeing with those people. You're not hiring those people. You're letting people in and out of the house and help them get maintenance people in and out. That's not management. That's kind of like just helping your client. Like if you had a vacant property and the seller called you up and said, hey, I need you to open up the property for whoever. Yeah, you can do those kind of things, but you're not hiring the people, you're not paying the people. So call Debbie and I if you know anything on that, because sometimes people think anything to help maintain a property is management. That's not it. You're not signing like example, is an agent, are you signing leases with people? Yeah, when you're leasing the property, you're giving a lease to them from on behalf of the seller, but you're not after that, you're not accepting rents, you're not going down, you're not filing for evictions, you're not doing any of that. So there's sometimes a confusion of what your duty is as an agent when you're leasing, helping people lease out property, if that makes sense.
Right. So the bottom line for Homestar agents, call us if you before you do anything, and we'll just let you know if it's allowed or not.
And the other thing I'll say to any agent, because Debbie and I get these calls, as soon as any agent goes, I have a few people, I'm thinking about getting the property management, I say, no, don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not enough money. It's so anybody, my opinion, and Debbie's, I'm sure, opinion too, don't even get involved. It's not worth it. No one wants to pay what they should pay. That if anybody's calling you as an agent to manage their property is probably because they don't want to pay a professional management company the percentages they want, and they want to find someone cheaper. So they're just trying to get you that. So they're already getting you cheaper because you don't have the systems, you don't have the experience, and they just don't want to pay. So don't be the cheap option. Just say no.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right, next, go ahead.
Conduct of licensees, not cooperating with the division during investigations, harassment of other parties, bad behavior, and felony convictions. This is number 2 on the list, you guys. So obviously they have had a lot of problems with agents. We all work in the industry and we have to play in the same sandbox, is what I tell people. Be nice, be considerate. I know tempers happen, things get heated when you're in negotiation, but that's not going to win you the negotiation, right? You need to keep level-headed ness when you're talking to other people, and don't harass other people and have bad behavior. And if you do have gotten yourself into trouble and you have a felony conviction, it is your duty to let the division of real estate know when you're in trouble like that right away, so that they can advise you on what you're going to do with your license and such. But
Right.
as far as like the horror stories of this person is not cooperative and they're mean and nasty and da 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 da, they get so many of these complaints that I think they've just had enough.
Yep. All right.
The number 1 that's on their list is agency document issues. So failure to provide the consumer guide of agency or the agency disclosure statement in a timely manner. If you're not sure when you're supposed to be delivering these things and you're a new agent, please make sure that you ask me, because this is number 1. If you ever get put into a lawsuit situation or even an investigation of any sort, one of the first things they're going to look at is that consumer guide to agency and see when the client signed it and dated it. That is the number 1 thing they're going to look at. Make sure
Exactly.
that, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, I mean, knock on wood, you never get, a complaint to the Division of Real Estate about anything. But if there's any type of complaint, has nothing to do with it, they're going to pull the file, and there's agents that get in trouble, just maybe a fine or CE class or even a suspended. Knock on wood, and 25 plus years of being a broker, I've never had an agent lose their license, but I've had a handful get suspended for 30 days because they did something. No one did anything wrong on purpose, but just didn't sign a contract thing at the right time, or put a listing on when they shouldn't have because they didn't get everybody approved. So there's consequences for what you do. But if someone complains about you, about something, they can pull the file, and it might be a totally unrelated issue, which, like you said, the number one thing is agency. So if you get a complaint about something else, like you didn't make a call back, or they didn't think you were doing something else, and they found out you didn't sign the consumer guide to agency at the right time, you might get in trouble for something that has nothing to do with what the client was complaining about, if that makes sense.
Exactly. And then the next thing on this list is failure to indicate listing property owned by a real estate licensee. That is crucial when we are selling our own properties. Even if you're in an LLC with someone else, you have to disclose everywhere that that is owned by a licensed real estate agent. It's so easy to do. And so many people miss this part. And it
Exactly.
really, go ahead.
I always say, like, we always promote over disclose. I mean, there's no reason not to, just say, someone say, this is my cousin, put on, it's my cousin. I don't know how it could hurt. It can only hurt you with disclosing. It can't hurt the deal. I don't understand. So we as an office, well, we're trying to catch this as much as possible. So if you have any type of interest whatsoever, friend, family, good friend, just be safe. Just
Yeah,
be safe. It's not going to hurt you. I've never had an agent go, well, I didn't disclose this because of this. Well, the only time I would say that is the only time is not selling, but buying. So I've had some agents like, I have a small interest in this property or in this company, and I was putting an offer on a property, and they don't want the seller to know that I'm an agent because I know what the values should be, and we're trying to get it for cheaper because I'm a buyer. And then in those kind of cases, call Debbie and I, we will suggest, well, don't represent yourself, have another agent represent you, and then you're the buyer.
which goes on to the next part of
Yep.
representing another party while being a principal in the
Yeah. Oh,
transaction.
did I get that? Oh, that was the
So,
next line.
yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, all
Yeah, it's
right.
the next line. So, if you are the principal in the transaction, you shouldn't be representing another party, right? Which is exactly
Oh,
what
yeah,
Tony's
definitely. Yeah.
saying. Have
Yeah.
someone else deal with that part. So I know a lot of people want to sell their own properties and they want to save as much money as possible by not having another agent involved, but you're just opening yourself up for a can of worms. That little bit of money that you might save then could cost you tens of thousands of dollars later. So it's not worth it.
And just
Um,
and this, while we're on disclosure, my opinion and experience, I always say anytime there's anything that could affect the other side from buying or selling should be disclosed, because even though certain things legally it don't have to be disclosed, buyers are still getting into lawsuits afterwards because they didn't feel that they didn't tell them of something. You could still get clients can still get involved in a lawsuit and cost money and time on something that technically doesn't have to be disclosed, but they're fighting it thinking they should have. And I'll just use an example, like people, if someone died in a house, I always suggest agents disclosing that, because but also just a little training when. I always tell agents, after you get an accepted offer, if you get an
right.
accepted offer, everything's agreed to before any inspections, before any earnest money, you come to agreement and go, oh, send an email. By the way, seller wanted me to let you know someone died in the house, or there was a suicide, or something happened. And because it doesn't have to be public record that this happened to everybody who sees it. When you get to that point, and then the buyer, and I say, if the buyer wants out because of it, great, let them out, because they probably would have been a lawsuit if you let them close on that. Because we've had that happen a few times over the years. All of a sudden, the seller get mad. See, I disclosed them, now they want out. I'm like, well, you're welcome. We just avoided a lawsuit. Because if we close and all of a sudden the neighbors came over like, oh my God, dude, this all happened in this house, you're getting a lawsuit. So if the buyer wants out right away, you avoided a lawsuit. So, but
Right,
you could get in
right.
trouble too, not like you legally did anything wrong, but now you are an agent involved in a lawsuit over something that wasn't disclosed, that wasn't legally have to be disclosed, but you're in a lawsuit. It costs you time and money, and an upset buyer. So.
Yep. Now, these next ones are things that are still on their top 10 list, and I find some of them are very crucial for you guys to remember. The residential property disclosure form is not number one, so that means that things have been fixed in that area, but it's still on their top 10 list. So, investors and rehabbers have to fill those out, guys. They are not an exempt party. So the only exempt parties are listed here. We do have a list of the exemptions on homestaroffice.com in the documents tab, but basically, if they own the property and they know something about it, they gotta tell. Investors and rehabbers know more things, chances are, than even the normal person, especially a rehabber, because they've ripped the place apart. So they know things that are going on. They have to tell. They cannot exit out and say never lived in the property. That is not an exemption.
Exactly. And again, sellers ask, well, should I example, a buyer, or seller, say it's an estate, their parent passed away, and the kids go, I haven't lived there in 10 years. I go, have you ever visited? Oh yeah, I visit all the time. Fill it out. You mean I go, well, I legally don't have to fill it out. I haven't lived there in so many years. Yes, but you go there enough. The buyer could say you knew that because your parents are always talking about how they have plumbing issues, or how they should. Oh my God, the roof needs repaired, or you've never had a conversation with your parents over that. We've had people, none recently, that buyers and sellers getting in lawsuits because they know if you know something about the house doesn't exclude you just because it legally says because you didn't live there or not in on the exclusion list. You if you know, you have to disclose. If that,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yep. My parents have a house in Florida. I don't live there. I've never lived there. I go there once a year and stay there for 2 weeks, but I've never lived there. But I know everything that my dad has fixed in that house because we
Exactly.
talk about it. So I know it, right?
Right, right, exactly. And the bottom line, and hopefully never anybody has to go to a lawsuit, but if there's a lawsuit and they gets the authorized person who is signing the closing documents and the purchase agreement and say, did you know of this? And they said, yes, I did, but I didn't have to disclose. You have any knowledge you have as an owner of a property, no matter if you just got assigned the owner or whatever, you have to disclose. That's what, to protect yourself. So,
Right.
all right, next.
Prominence rule. Here's another one that pops up all the time, and I see this violation all the time, all over
Yes.
social media, you guys. Not necessarily from our Homestar agents, because we're
Uh,
pretty thorough with this, but um, the brokerage name must be more prominent than your name, period. Not the brand, the brokerage name. And now the thing that I see more than ever is where you have the brokerage name and then the agent signs their name super big across whatever it is. It's in their signature line, it's on their social media. That is against the rules.
Yeah, the thing of it is, I tell agents, when they ask about this, is that just right now there's just no one policing it. The Division of Real Estate just doesn't have enough people to police it. But in theory, everything, and I think it's $1,000 fine. Every instance they catch it, it
Right.
could be $1,000 fine. So in theory, they used to scare us way back in the day when we were getting our business cards and things like technically every business card that they found could be $1,000 fine. Every one of your yard signs, if you had 10 listings and someone decided the one day to pick you and take pictures of all your 10 signs, there's $10,000 fines there. So I tell agents this all the time and I say this as an office, is some agents go, do you have any policies? for prominent rule and all that. Well, as an office, we follow the state laws and Century 21 rules. Other than that, we don't have any like office, you can't do this or that, other than laws and rules that other people have, because they're the ones that are going to fine you if you do that. So
Yep.
so always check with that. But yeah, just because other people are doing it doesn't make it right.
They'll
So
eventually catch up with them. And
someday they will.
every post that you do would be $1,000 to $2,500 a post.
Oh
Fine.
yeah, I mean,
Why put yourself in that position? Just make it
it,
smaller. That's all.
basically, yeah, I see that all the time. I get like example when I'm looking up an agent or trying to find an agent or a social media or whatever. I go, I don't have no idea what company they work for. If the public can't even figure out where on social media, on an email, on a yard sign, I go, I don't even know what company they work with. You lost that argument. Prominent. It's got to
Right.
be prominent, like your social media, your page. If you're posting stuff, you have to have right on your main page about you, what company you work for. If you have a website, it can't be way at the bottom of that. If you haven't send out an email and you have your team name or name and all these logos and stuff on the top, but way at the bottom of the, some page on your or of the email, it says way on the bottom. That's not prominent.
Right.
That's so you could get in trouble for that. And there are agents that do, but we just don't hear about them. There's not the reason why we don't hear about them. I always say this too, because no one promotes that. No one's going on social media. Hey, guess what? I just got fined. You know, no one does
Who wants to
that.
tell that, right?
No one promotes. Like I've never heard of agents getting in trouble because who's telling other agents I got in trouble? But it happens. So
Right. They're not going to
right,
tell anybody that. They're just
right,
going to absorb
exactly.
it, right?
Yep. Go ahead.
Duty to confirm the offer presented. So this is in our standards of practice in our code of ethics, y'all. And the new Ohio Board of Realtors purchase agreement has that you have accepted the offer, you have countered the offer, or you have rejected the offer and the seller has to sign it. They kind of fix this for you guys by putting this right on the contract if you're using the Ohio Board of Realtors contract. But we do have to make sure that the offer is confirmed that it was, or confirmed, excuse me, that it was presented to the seller. You could also have them put rejected across the agency disclosure and have the seller sign it or initial it, right, Tony?
Yep, exactly.
Just some sort of way to confirm that the seller was presented with your offer.
Yep.
Here's our fun fact. So August 3rd is going to be National Watermelon Day. So I thought this one was really cute. And you could drop by with watermelon and put the tag on there, or maybe some watermelon seeds if you know someone who likes to do gardening and stuff like that. But it was a nice, fun, refreshing summertime deal. So I thought that was pretty cute.
No, that's
And I
good.
thought it would lighten all of the stuff that we just talked about too. So
Exactly.
we're trying to do with all of this information is to keep you guys on the right track so that you don't get into trouble. Just by bringing up the fact that this is what the Ohio Board of Realtors sent out last week, so they're still having issues with it.
Yep.
July 11th, we have the buyer broker no, I'm sorry. I got the wrong words in there because I got that form in my brain. We have the buyer broker agreements and lending with Hush. We have civil rights with Hush, credit scoring and fixing credit with Hush in September. And then there's the spooky one. I knew he'd be coming up with something fun. Usually at the end of the year, we get 3 fun classes with Hush. October 3rd is going to be 13 spooky mortgage issues. As soon as Mike has some more classes scheduled, he'll let us know. If anybody needs any other additional training and you can't find it anywhere, you can always go to McKissack, you can go to Hondros, all those things. You have to pay for those classes, unfortunately, but we have to make sure we're maintaining our
Yep.
license accordingly. So, but it is July 2nd. I hope everybody has a very healthy, happy, safe 4th of July. And we always welcome everybody to these training sessions. You can see them on YouTube. Of course, if you have any questions or you need help at all you got to do is reach out to us. Tony, what's your thing that they can get onto your
Oh,
calendar with?
TonyTalk.net. That's when you want to talk about something for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you have a quick question about a deal going on, you text me or text me. I got 5 minutes. This is when you want to sit down, like a training time. Like I'm going to carve out time because I always say, because my appointments I do a half hour on the half hour, try to get them done within 15, 20 minutes. So it leaves me 10, 15 minutes to call the people that were texting me while I was on that. So
Yeah.
that's how I organize myself on that. So, all
Yep.
right, well, that's it. Well, thanks for joining us today, everyone. Remember, reach out if you need anything and have a great 4th of July.
Bye bye now.
Bye-bye.